Hello everybody, Всем привет. Today I'm going to work on the campaign screens and the menu. And currently I just have this always booting into the new game screen. So this is like new standard game, and you can select which map you're going to play and whatnot, and then you load it, and that's great. And so we're going to start out up here. So I have my new game screen is the screen that loads just there that you saw. This is the actual new game screen. Well, we actually want this to be the option when you select standard game. And then before that, there's actually even this new game. So you're going to go new game. There's also view high scores, view credits, and quit, and load game. We're going to deal with saving and loading games later. But you can go new game and then standard game, and then that should take you here. So I'm basically going to build a couple menus before that. But also, if you go new game and you go campaign game, then it should take you here where you pick your campaign hero, which faction you're going to do. And then I threw in the different menus. These are the binary files for each of the menus. I can show you what's inside those. But anyway, when you, I also threw in, let's see, some documentation, and this is the first campaign screen. So if you select the campaign game, it takes you in here and it gives you the scenario name and some flavor text, and then you click OK, and it starts the campaign. I'm just going to quickly pull up some of these windows here in the hex editor, so you can just see, like, let's see, STP campaign. So this is like set up the campaign. So this shows we have this red back BMP, button campaign ICN. Well, what is in button campaign, right? So let's have a quick look at that. What is in button campaign? Here it is. So these are the various, well, campaign buttons that you can see for each player. All right. So that's just an example of like what's in the info here, and it gives we've got setup new game, campaign game, setup main. So these are just the button layouts to tell us which buttons are which. But I throw in my dialog binary format reader to basically extract some of the layout from these. I have about a 60% chance of success with that. So I like to do it now, throw it in there. I give it some screenshots here that I've labeled up here to label which piece is which. We've also got our background files here, which I can pull up all the way down here. We're looking at, so like this is the campaign screen. This is the congratulations screen when you beat a campaign. This is the credits screen, and I think there's a high score screen as well. So I throw in the heroes screen. There's this red back is the this one. This is the well, basically this piece here is the red back. And let's see. So these are the various buttons, and I explain what happens. Quit exits the program. View credits takes you to that credit screen. View high scores takes you to the high score screen, which I'm not populating, but I'm just, throwing it in there for now, stubbing it out. Load game should be a non-functional stub for now. New game should transfer us to the second screen to game type, which shows this. We have 4 buttons: standard game, campaign game, multiplayer game, cancel. So new game takes us to this screen here. Or actually, sorry, new game here takes us to this screen here where we select standard, campaign, or multiplayer. Multiplayer is just going to be a stub for now as well. It's multiplayer. Stub this out for now. Cancel takes you back to the previous menu. Standard game is that takes us to our current new game logic, the current menu code where we select the map difficulty level, etc. And then the campaign game, this will take us one more level deep into the menu system. And this is the STP new game.bin, probably has the XY offsets of each button. Please look for it. The campaign game menu gives us these 4 players, which also selects the color and the faction. And we need to use that information to assign the castles in the actual campaign game. And then clicking on each of these buttons will start the campaign game. It's a series of 8 maps. The first 4 levels are the same. And then there are 3 levels where your faction attacks the other 3 levels, or the other 3 factions. Like if you're the knight, you attack the barbarian, the sorceress, and the warlock. If you're the warlock, you attack the sorceress, the barbarian, and the knight. And then there's a final level, which is the same for everybody. And then those are the 9 levels in total, but you'll only play 8 of them. It will be a little different for each faction. And the day, week, month counter is maintained across all the levels or all the maps. So, you know, if it takes you 2 weeks to beat the first map, then your second map, you're starting at like day 1 of week 3 or something like that. And then the first screen of the campaign game is laid out in campaign bin. And it uses this Heroes BMP, which we will go back quickly and have a look at. This is the image that's used, and I actually need to do palette cycling on the on these tiles here. I may end up doing that. I mean, I know the game does it. I just may end up implementing that as well. But it uses that, and then it uses this camp back image and then displays the text. Well, I went in, I've played through a few of the scenarios. I played up through scenario 4, basically, just playing around with remembering. I mean, I haven't played the campaign on this game for probably 10 years or something like that. So I played through a little bit to give just a refresher. What happens? What's the flavor text? I half the time in these games I only half read this. I don't get too into the flavor text. I'm just hurry up and let me play the game. But it's important. So I took down all the text. I just typed it up quick, and let me know if you see any typos, by the way. So I put that in. This is the first map text that you get. It's printed over this camp back, so you'll have the title here and then the flavor text down below. The campaign map is basically the same as a scenario map format, but it's missing some of the scenario information. The file names are camp 1 CMP through camp 9 CMP, and they're loaded in order for now. See the document campaign map format, which breaks down how to read them. And basically it just starts on like byte 6 is where the actual tile map starts, and otherwise it's identical to a regular map. The regular map just has a bunch of space for up to 10 languages of title and the flavor text of the map. It has space for up to 10 of those for potentially like 10 languages, I guess. And then it also has a little bit of info, like the first few bytes are like difficulty and map size and things like that, and even the title. But since there isn't a title in the campaign maps, the game has to know that somewhere. So I have to extract that information, the name and the flavor text, and I have to supply that in my, essentially my campaign. And maybe I should, I think what I could do right now, I'm just hard coding it into the game, but what I could do if I wanted to make additional campaigns is I could sort of pull that structure out and create a bit of a data structure where I have the map name and I have the map title, flavor text, the victory flavor text. Like once you win, there's also some text that happens at the end before you play the next level. And so basically putting that in, and then plus putting in the map file. That's how I would build another campaign for this game. And I think I will. I think that's actually probably going to be one of the number one requests for what to add is just additional campaigns. And it would be cool. I've thought about maybe exporting some like dragon related campaign from Heroes 2, Heroes 3, like coming up with a way to port that over to Heroes 1 format, so that it's kind of the same but kind of different. Kind of like the only similar crossover I can think of is where people have remade Claw for Heroes 2 and Heroes 3. And the original Dragon Rider map for Heroes 1 was actually implemented in Heroes 2, which was actually like the prize of winning that contest that Jason Church won, because he's the author of Dragon Rider. He won that contest. He got his map included in Heroes 2, and I figure he probably got a free copy of Heroes 2 or something out of it as well. But regardless, I mean that's just an honor, and I haven't forgotten Jason Church. I remember. Anyway, so we're going on here. I then give it the victory text for the gateway when you beat it, and then I went through Archipelago, or however you pronounce this, and I gave it the victory text for that, and then the Wounded Land, where this is the so that's another point here, is the victory conditions are a little different too for the campaign maps. In the regular standard game of Heroes of Might and Magic 1, you just have to eliminate all other players. That's your victory condition. In Heroes 2 and 3, there's other scenarios where you can eliminate all players, you can capture a certain town, you can find the ultimate artifact. Those are winning conditions. Those only exist in Heroes of Might and Magic 1 inside the campaign game. And so I have to also modify the map that I read for like the campaign map 1. I have to modify that the town at the center to be named Gateway, first of all. And then I have to check as a victory condition if the hero has captured the town of Gateway. That's the victory condition. So I have to add that in. I don't have logic for that yet. And so that's something I'm going to have to add in. And then also in campaign 3, you're looking for this artifact, the Eye of Goros, to unite the people or something. And it's the condition where when you find the ultimate artifact, you get a couple of notifications, and then you have won the map. It's another victory condition. So I again have to program that in. Now, what that means is also I can probably add in this functionality to the standard game where we can have some different victory condition maps like you have in Heroes 2 and 3. So that's also like a second addition that I would like to make in updating this game. Of course, I'm going to keep it pure for the purists, but I'm thinking of having like a special mode or something where I add in these extra features or an extra scenario, scenario meaning an extra campaign of multiple maps. That's what I meant by scenario, because a scenario is just a single map, I guess, in this case. Anyway, I also include this text for campaign map free-for-all. So it goes through, does a lot of work, comes up with some new game menus, and let's just have a look at how those turned out. So my first build here is campaign menus. So we got new game, standard game, Claw. Yep, that seems like it's working. Okay, cool. Load game doesn't work. View high scores, that's kind of working, right? And clicking anywhere exits it, but we can still view the credits. At some point, I should probably add my name to the credits of the rebuilt game. And I guess I'd probably put it around here. Lead programming and programming. I could just kind of yeah, so anyway, let's go new game and campaign game, and let's see what happens here. So we do get the text here, and I think I had to go in and manually adjust some of the positioning of this. Okay, well, that didn't load anything. So this is like the blank default demo map of all water. So it did something. it loaded an empty map, but I think we had to go through a couple times. I give it some different specifications about what is in the map format here, because I just thought it wasn't loading it correctly, and it drew some conclusion here that I didn't like, so I stopped it and threw in the puzzle. Oh yeah, it was looking for the ultimate artifact victory condition, because I think I'd mentioned that above, and it didn't have that, so it was looking for puzzle map to include that information in there. So I threw those in. I don't really like how the puzzle map is kind of off on its own little side shot, like a little growth shoot off to the side here, but that's how it came out with all the vibe coding. So it's possible I will go back and refactor it and kind of put it in a different place, maybe include it inside map or something as like a sub map. I'm not sure, but anyway, goes through, looks at a lot of the code, works on reloading the map, and let's see what the next build is. This says campaign game random assignment dusk. So I think we are probably working somewhat. No? No. Oh, you know what might be happening too is I'm loading these builds, but maybe the campaign maps are not populated for it. Maybe it would actually work, because I store my old builds in another directory. So this might be actually a different, yeah. So I now have a directory called campaign maps that I think I need to move into my build archive. So let's actually go back and see if let's check if the current build works first, I guess. No. Nope, it did not. So that is too bad. Let me just check if I wonder if maybe my campaign maps need to be copied into the maps directory. Maybe that's possibly, are they missing? Yes, the campaign maps are not in the maps directory. So maybe that was it. Because my test directory does have the campaign maps in the maps directory. I also have a separate folder called campaign maps, which I'm probably not using. Okay, weird. Well, let's go back here and let's look at the first build and see if that was actually working. So this was our original build before I made these changes. And did we get it? No, not yet. Okay, well, let's check the second build then. This is the random assignment dusk build. New game, campaign game, Lord Slayer. Okay. There we go. Well, it did load this time, so that was kind of the issue. Well, I don't know what the issue was with the first one, but I had bug fixed it. And so now we're caught up at least to where I am in the chat here with these updates. So we did get generated as Lord Slayer. Let's see what the town in the middle is called. It is called Dusk, not Gateway. It does look like everybody is assigned the correct, well, something like that. But wait a second. So Lord Slayer is actually red. And what was our... I think the colors might be off. So Lord Slayer should be green. Okay, and I selected Lord's... Okay, that was just random luck last time that was correct. So the assignment is actually off. The cheat still works. 101.495 still works. But yeah, the color of the player is always red, whichever one that is. So that's being set at a fixed value, and then yeah, it's just randomly selecting. Let's try once more and just see. We'll select Lord Slayer again. Let's just see if we get a different. No, we got Lord Slayer that time. That was correct, but there, we got the knight this time. So yeah, so the assignment is random, and that's not correct. Loading castles are fixed by faction and color. Selecting any of them seems to give me a random assignment. All are assigned the red flag, so we need to set the player color properly here, and we need to set the faction properly here. Can we make it a more fixed castle anchor or castle and color assignment for campaign games? So red knight, green barbarian, yellow sorceress, warlock blue. And then we need to probably fix the color assignment in the regular new game. It's always defaulting to red. Maybe this is the map file where this happens. Perhaps that is there. It is perhaps there that it's not picking up the specified color and faction assignments. So we go through, look through all this. Lots of compile errors. Didn't work at all. Well, the color assignment worked in the regular new game. And it's still not working in the campaign game. It's just assign the castle based on the faction of player and be done with it. This is the solution you did. Remapping randomly selected castle is both wrong and stupid. So what it started doing was it would take these 4 initial castles, one assigned to each faction, and whichever castle it randomly assigned you, it would randomly overwrite that castle to be something else. And so I have this one. This build is saved as campaign assigned by overwrite bug. Yuck. That's my comment on it. So first of all, let's just check the standard game. Let's say we want to be yellow in claw. We are yellow. Everybody else is okay. Well, that's weird. This is getting assigned a different color. So there's some other bug that's been assigned there, but we'll address that later. For the most part, that was working, but let's then check the campaign game here. Let's try Lord Slayer. And so, okay, well, this is correct. Deceivingly correct. Okay, well, he's got a green flag there. So there's definitely something, one of the heroes is being assigned an incorrect color. Although you'll notice this on the quick info, it is correct. It's the correct flag there. Just the sprite here is being misdrawn with the incorrect color flag. So it is a knight. Everything else looks correct there. So let's see if we can demonstrate the correction. Yeah, so here we're up at the Warlock's castle, and it's been overwritten as a Knight's castle, and we're still a Warlock, but we're being assigned Knight creatures and things. So this is just weird. We look like a barbarian, but we're a Warlock with Warlock creatures. We have Warlock stats. Castor the barbarian. So this is well, thanks AI. This is just weird. So it did some stupid stuff like rewriting the faction. Don't overwrite the castle type. Ugh, now you have to undo all that and do it correctly. What a waste of tokens. If you don't do this one right, I'll stop this session and move on to a new one with better context. Do better. So it goes on, gives us another shot. And then somehow the hero generated in the standard map is always the same colored flag as the player. It's likely a minor bug. Let's see what we're doing with that. And so I basically go off on a side quest here to fix the claw map. But let me see if that bug got fixed by the last update here. Campaign first scenario castle assignment. So let's see how this looks, because then I think we go after that and look at the, okay, that was correct. Let's see if it's, let's just load a few of these. Let's see which players we get. That's correct. Wait, was that correct? Let's see, let's make sure she's in the right. Yeah, she's in the lower corner. That is where she is supposed to appear. Yep, yep. So it does look like the placement was fixed. And let's just look at the flag colors of everybody else quick. So blue. Yep, so the flag colors are correct on these, but this same build, I think, now has that bug in the standard game. 11495, and let's just have a look at the colors of the... Okay, so that actually looks correct there. But anyway, I was running into this bug with having this different color. So I'm just going to try once more with the standard game. Let's go with yellow and see what 101-495. Let's just see if we get any yellow players out. No, maybe this is the build after it was fixed too. But I was seeing this issue where the flag would be mismapped in the standard game, and I had to explain it a little bit. We kicked it around, and basically there's a bug where the crest color to player color was misassigning the flag ICN layer color. So that's basically the sprite was being misassigned based on the player color versus the crest color versus something else. Like there was, again, this potential offset between either the assigned players or maybe it was the sorceress barbarian. Let's see, the computer player who received player zero's old color, red, kept their original crest color, yellow. So basically somehow the crest color was stale, and so that was resulting in a yellow flag being displayed for, well, in this case here. So we had to do something to fix that. That worked for the standard game. And then let me go back here and just check one more thing in our campaign game. So we're playing as Lord Slayer, 1495, and let's just look at the name of the town. The town is called Gateway here. So this is probably after this because I think I had to fix this. So the renaming of the center town in the campaign map was Gateway, and the neutral towns are being assigned based on faction, which is not correct. So it was also assigning that town to whichever... It was assigning this town now to the barbarian. So this would have been assigned to me, and then yeah, it was just weird. So I had to deal with that bug. So basically neutral and starting castles, I basically had to go back in and look at how it was assigning initial ownership. I went through and found a bug. Supposedly I had to push through this a couple different times to figure it out. It just kept like misassigning things, and then I guess it worked and I was happy with it, and I asked for the documentation, and then I updated the documentation on the binary formats, and I updated my architecture document as well. So let me see if I have any. This one is called Castle Assignment Good. So it looks like it's about the same as the last one. So just make sure this all looks correct, which it does. Everybody has the right color of flag. And let's just check again. claw and make sure we got that correct. So yes, yes, yes. All right, that looks correct to me. And I think we're good there. Did I have any other builds after this? I had campaign game flow working. So let's see. This this is the victory screen after you beat a campaign. So I wanted this to be shown. And I think what I can maybe demonstrate here is the immediate exit after we win the campaign game. So let's just play as Lord Alamar. He's my favorite. And put on here, we're gonna do the auto battle skip that I have implemented for testing. That will not be part of the final game. It's just a cheat advantage I have to just be able to test faster. You have captured gateway, scenario complete, and then the game exits. Okay, so that was cool, but we were able to actually implement the victory condition for gateway. That's great. But now the next piece is I need to actually have this congratulations screen. I need to save the game date and process like new day, and needs to start now on whatever day this ended, or actually maybe the next day after. I need to double check that. If you end on like, you know, week 2, day 7, do you start the next scenario on week 3, day 1? I think that's the case. That's what I logically selected to put in here, but I need to double check that. So anyway, I threw this in. This is the victory text. I threw in a lot of the code and some of the documentation. Here's basically all the victory text for these 3 maps, and we need a data structure for that, and I'll fill out the other 6 maps later. Yeah, here's the first 3 of them right now, and we'll make some placeholder text for the other 6. Faction and color remains the same for the next map of the campaign series, and the day, week, month counter from the previous map should be saved. You know, I know in some of the other Heroes campaigns, in Heroes 2 and Heroes 3, you're able to keep your hero and their experience, and sometimes they're artifacts, sometimes they're spells. I don't think you're able to do that here. I don't remember because I haven't played the higher level scenarios in a long time, but at least the first couple scenarios here in the campaign game, you're not allowed to do that. So it doesn't matter. So that makes it a little easier. It's not that hard to implement. So again, as I'm talking about changes I could make to the game, I could potentially change that. But now I have this comprehensive picture of the code base. Great. Let's look through here. It's going to add this campaign carryover, campaign victory text, etc. Took a long time to do all this. And then we put these texts down, and I had to go in and manually adjust some of the locations on the map. I had to nudge them a little bit, and let's update the documents with this text. Okay, great. And let's check the next build here. So new game, campaign game, and Lord Almar again. Probably close this. Oh, low morale. Uh-oh. Oh man, I've got a lot of low morale. Too many different creatures in my army. Okay, so we get our music. Maybe the music should play here. That's something, I think I think the guitar music of the Heroes Might Magic 1 theme is supposed to play here. But anyway, it then kicks into the next scenario. We're going to click OK and see if the archipelago loads, and it did. I know you're supposed to sailboat on this one, but as I've played through it, I found the best strategy is to use the teleporters. My teleporters aren't glowing either. I probably need to fix that with a palette shifting. It's probably the teal palette shifting. Actually, I think I know what it is, but I'll talk about that in another video. So we got through this, and what is my next one? Campaign victory screens. So let's see, actually, this is the exact same one that I just talked through a moment ago. So I have one more here of the player elimination. So for basically playing through these various maps, we have the yellow player has been vanquished, or if you have this situation where if you lose your town, you have a week to get a new town, 7 days, your players have abandoned you, and yellow players have abandoned him and he's banished from the land, etc. So I basically need to come up with the player elimination because I haven't done that yet, or I hadn't done that yet until this point where if you beat all the other players, you need to win the game, essentially. I need to have that victory condition established for even just the standard game. I hadn't done that. So it's time. And so we put this in. I went in and found these images where the various crests were for each player, put them in the frame. I specified the frame. Frame 004 is 58 wide and 55 high. Maybe I can pull that up real fast here, just for completeness, because I think it's fun to show what the actual sprites are. So there's this one. I think, probably I like blue. It's kind of chess in its theme. I don't really know. Is this like a green snowflake, or is this like a compass maybe for the barbarian? The rose is very knight-like. It's very Knight of the Rose, English style perhaps. And the griffin is just classic. This reminds me of like a Lego knight faction or something like that. And then this is the frame that they go in, nothing special. So I give it the text of all of those messages, which we saw up there, and basically just need to add these victory conditions. And then I show it what I had to submit this twice because actually I think maybe I submitted this one too early. I clicked enter early and was like, oh no. And so then I stopped the AI and I took a little longer to write the rest of this. So these last couple paragraphs are the additional prompts that I added. So when a player is eliminated, their towns and castles have already been claimed. Their heroes have already been eliminated or have abandoned them. The only thing that remains in the game logic is to unflag the mines, sawmills, alchemist labs, lighthouses, and dragon cities that the player has flagged. The owner of those mines and sawmills and alchemist labs and flaggable structures is set to unflagged. I don't remember. Same with boats created by the player. They are returned to a neutral state, and that would make them recruitable by summoned boat. Now, I don't know if that's done by the game logic, but I think that makes sense. That's like in the spirit of the game. So I'm gonna just call that one, that they get returned to a neutral state, and then any hero that would enter that would then become the last owner, and then it would definitely be a friendly boat that would be summonable by summoned boat. Anyway, I want to add the player vanquish detection, tracking of homeless heroes that might be forced to abandon a player or an opponent's team if they control no castles. Tracking of a player is vanquished and removing their flags. I think that I meant tracking if a player is vanquished and removing their flags from flaggable structures like mines, sawmills, alchemist labs, lighthouses, dragon cities, if they are vanquished, and also displaying the various messages about the statuses as the checks happen. Most of this should be processed in new day, and the messaging event should happen at the beginning of the turn after the new day logic completes, but before the weekly announcement of creature growth at a new week. So basically, the player being vanquished because their heroes abandon them is the very first thing that happens, and then you get the new week message of like, oh, the Cyclops growth +5 or whatever it is. So help me create this. I probably need a new CPP file to track it, and we can, but maybe we can track it in events or event actions. And then we'll also document it in a markdown document. So we go through, comes up with player elimination.h and CPP, does all these checks. Full design doc, great. And that's pretty much it. So let's quickly pull up my player elimination build. Why is that not loading? Okay, that's strange. Something was weird with my Windows Explorer, but this is my player elimination. So I'm going to go to a map that is very easy to win in this situation, and it's Dragon Pass. So we're a sorceress in Dragon Pass. Do we have any creatures? Nah, well, let's, we don't have any money because I turned that down to test the demon cave, and I haven't set it back up yet, so I'll have to do that in another build in the future. So green player was vanquished. Okay, let's go vanquish red player next. And you'll notice, well, at least I'm noticing a bug here where the new castle gets inserted ahead of the original castle, and that's not actually how it's supposed to happen in the game. So it could be like an off by one error, because this the next castle we captured then got inserted there. So it's and yeah, there's a bug here where I'm missing the sound and the physical damage to the walls. It's supposed to play the dark cloud and the sound. And here we've got the victory condition being announced at the end. So we did eliminate the player. Yellow player has been vanquished, but it then exits the game. So that needs to do the high score screen and track that. But I also don't know how to do scoring exactly. So I've started building a document of like what the actual scores are in the game. Like I can pull that up really quick here. I hope we get the short intro instead of the long intro, but we'll see what we get. So you can see here these various scores, and you can see I played a couple times through here. And I got a Nomad 77 to 80, Wolf is 70 to 76. So there is some kind of scoring mechanism here, and I don't know it off the top of my head. I know the highest one is Dragon, and it's like 220 something. But yeah, I need to figure that out and figure out how to compute it, and that's a whole nother weird reverse engineering problem. So I'll get to that at some point. But one idea that did occur to me is I could create like a worldwide scoreboard for this. I know how to do some cloud infrastructure, so I could actually just create a really simple cloud database that every single copy of this game connects to, and then you could compare yourself. Like I could actually just make that as it connects to a server, downloads the text file of like everybody that's ever played the game, and show you where you rank. And you'll be probably tied in like 10,000th place with, you know, another 260 people or something that got your same score on whatever map. But I thought that might be kind of fun, because I have played some games on the Wii. I think Lonely Mountains Downhill is one of my it's like just this weird like mountain biking game where you're biking down a mountain and you're like timed, and there's whatever rankings, but as you play through that game, you can compare yourself to the literally every other player in the world. And I think my best performance on that game is something like there's a version where you have to play through the whole level without crashing, and I think I did that on a couple of them, and I was like 20th or something in the world, and I was like, oh wow, that's awesome. But not that that matters at all, but I was a little tickled that not that many people had done the full playthrough of a level without crashing. And there might be something obscure like that in Heroes of Might and Magic, or maybe I select it based on map or level or something like that. It's really pretty trivial to have a cloud service behind this that would display the scores, and so I think that would be like a nice, I would call it a quality of life um, scoring structure. And if I'm able to successfully implement it in this, Heroes 2 and I think VCMI, Free Heroes 2 and VCMI are open source, so I could potentially create a similar scoreboard system for those games, depending on if people wanted it or not. But I could probably do the same because it's just not that hard. It doesn't cost that much to store the files or run it. It's pretty cheap to run if you run it on like Amazon Cloud and a Lambda function, which is probably what I would do. Yeah, that's all for now.